What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Pharaoh from Monte The Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monte The Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh. Later.
On Pro Wrestling Broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, produced out of Indie Music TV, straight out of Ronkonkoma, Long Island. We've got the bullpen in session. Abe is at the board, filling in for Jared today. So thank you, Abe, for taking the time out and helping us out here, because we got a wonderful guest here today. Very excited for. But before that, Pharaoh, CBS, ABC, CNN are sounding the alarm. Coronavirus is back, but it's coming back with a vengeance. BA.5 is the name of this variant. And they're telling you better mask up and take some more vaccines. What are you thinking?
I've already nailed my windows shut. Didn't you hear me slamming them, shuttering them closed?
And you're done.
I'm done. I'm not leaving that. Wait a minute. I'm outside right now. I got to go.
Fauci was on the news saying that, unfortunately, the vaccine seems... Yeah,
he's back.
You remember Fauci?
Yeah, sure. Fauci returns.
The vaccine that was so necessarily needed was not necessarily working.
Oh, well, I don't necessarily believe anything he says. How about that?
And if anything's not more upside down, now they're posting McDonald's is hiring at $21 an hour. What do you think of that?
This is the Pharaoh. Pull up to the Red Square. Your number 2 combo's not ready.
Can you imagine working at McDonald's making not the $21 an hour is a lot of money, but it's
No, you're kidding?
With overtime, you could turn it.
Compared to some places, it's not so bad. It is what it is.
Do you ever think you'd be in a place where you have to wear a mask and a hamburger guy gets $21 an hour?
I would bitch on the internet, but I don't even have a television set, so I'm just going to keep my shit to myself. What are you going to do? This is a bizarre world we live in, my friend. I don't know what happened, but it happened.
More bizarre.
Yeah, it sure is. Oh, by the way, how's Sleepy Joe doing? Is he awake lately?
I have no idea.
Because I heard that he's not even awake anymore when he speaks.
I want to know from our guest after commercial break what he thinks about Sleepy Joe. Oh. Maybe he could be a fan of Sleepy Joe.
He might be, and I apologize.
And he's a big guy too, so I don't know if you really want to argue with him. We might have to be pro.
I'm not arguing with this guy.
So you'll be pro. You're gonna break your morals, and you'll be pro Biden.
No.
just because
No,
you're
I
afraid.
won't do that, but I'll be as polite as can be to our guests because I'm a complete mark and a loser. Anyway, now that we've broken that one down.
Well, if anyone didn't know who this loser was, that is Jimmy Pharaoh. He is the star of the
Wait a
show.
minute! I didn't tell you to enhance this, you prick! Anyway, how you doing, folks? Loser here, Mark. And
We
all
want
those
to
other
thank the
things.
band that sings the theme song for Monte The Pharaoh and Jimmy Pharaoh, along with his
that's
partner
right.
Bart Griggs. Make up the band, Wisteria Hall. Wisteria
right.
Hall sings such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life Not Far Behind, and Here Comes the Rain.
Yeah,
You can
produced
find
by
their
Eddie
music
Kramer.
on the...
That's right. Got to throw in Eddie Kramer. You got to throw him in.
Listen,
the
I'm not-
producer from Led Zeppelin worked with us. I've got to throw
See,
him in.
you have to tell people what he
Yeah.
did.
What?
Because no one knows anymore.
No one knows anymore about Eddie?
I have to ask your guest. Let's just ask him. You know who Eddie Kramer is there, EC3? There you go.
Do you know who Led Zeppelin is? I do know. Do you know who the Beatles are? Do you know who the Rolling Stones are?
I'm aware, yes.
Do you know who Jimi Hendrix is?
I am, yeah.
He's aware of Eddie Kramer. He
No,
just
he's
doesn't
not.
realize it.
He's aware
Well,
of
that's
the
the guy
people
who
that Eddie
produced all
Kramer
those-
built, but that's what I'm trying to show right here.
Yeah. I don't expect him to know Eddie.
I don't recognize him. My father would be disappointed. I don't know Eddie Kramer. But I'm listening, so...
That's good.
Thanks for starting trouble.
There you go.
Go next. Go.
If you didn't know it, you were watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh's. Catch us on the Monte The Pharaoh YouTube page and Monte The Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor. Catch us on the Twitch TV Monte The Pharaoh page. And if you're lucky enough to live in New York, you can catch us on channel 115 at 9:30 and 11:30 on Saturday nights, and channel 20 at 1 a.m. where there's over 100,000 viewers watching weekly.
This is true.
All right, we'll be right back. Very excited for the pro wrestling superstar, EC3, and he's also, along with his partner Adam Shear, I think would be the controlling, I don't know if we should call them owners, of the new wrestling organization, Control Your Narrative.
Control your narrative.
We'll be right back.
M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860-479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offthe-railscoffeeroasters.com. Pro Wrestle Broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, only seen here out of Indie Music TV. Welcoming EC. Can I call you EC3?
You may.
All right.
That is
Well,
my
thank
handle.
you, sir. My
Where's
partner.
your partner?
Well, because he can't handle his beer, so he has to pee every 2 minutes. Oh, here he is.
He feeds
Look, here he is.
And then he wonders why I got a tinkle.
The old bladder problem.
Hold on. Here
absolutely.
lies the problem. We got a six-pack.
Yeah.
Right here.
I figured
Cold
your
beer.
partner there probably would like nice 2 beers, right?
2 beer minimum.
Cool down a little bit.
That'd be good.
But
He
the
didn't- he
Pharaoh's got
didn't
to
give me-
overindulge
he
and
didn't-
take 3 of the 6.
We go to get a beer together. He doesn't give me the breakdown. He just buys a six-pack. Then he yells at me afterwards because I acted like an Irishman.
I was just shocked you bought a 6-pack. Like,
Yeah,
don't
we
you
should have
buy
bought a case.
12?
Yeah, we should have. Absolutely.
You know, a
Way to
six-pack.
go. Way to go.
But to be honest, I'm not a beer guy.
Yeah.
I might
not a
fat like a beer guy, but
Right.
I'm not a beer guy. I'm more of a like a red wine type of guy.
I
So
do love a good Pinot Noir.
how about Merlot? You like a Merlot?
A Merlot? I would love a Merlot.
I'm a lot.
So one of our sponsors, very very proper, Good Fucking Wines. We will be sending you a bottle for
would
being
drink
on the
a Good
show,
Fucking
and I
Wine.
promise you, as
This
you
is not
will
Merlot.
enjoy this wine.
I will put that name to the test.
This is a red table wine, but it's not bad.
Good shit.
So anyway, you were at Sam Roberts Day. How did that go?
Wonderful. Sam's a good friend and a great correspondent. Body of work stands the test of time. He's very in tune with everything that's taking place in the world of wrestling, and we had a great conversation. So I look forward to seeing that play out. So
Good stuff. I mean, Sam Roberts is a guy that got into that niche, I think, right?
Yeah.
Ahead of everybody else, and he actually made something of it.
He made something of it, and he has, humanity to him and personality, and he's enjoyable, and he's a good conversation. It could be about wrestling, it could be about life, He sees depth, and I enjoy depth in a conversation.
Good.
Like this.
Well,
We're real deep.
we're going to get deep, so
We are.
I don't know how deep we're getting.
how's everything going
Now
with
you've
you
done it.
personally, but considering
Now you've done it.
what's happening, with the pandemic and the civil unrest in this country,
Hey.
what is EC3 feeling right now about the country that he's living in?
I feel, no matter what, America is the greatest country in the world, and we should be thankful and blessed of our freedoms each and every day. So, every day I wake up to be in the wonderful land of the United States of America, despite any cultural differences and cultural divide. We know at the end of the day that if we are united, we are unstoppable as a nation.
Are we united currently?
I would say in some aspects, yes. In some aspects, it seems like we're not. But the fact I saw politics on your banner when I walked in here, I almost fucking left.
There you go. There you go.
No way. especially
And I'm in the
what
bathroom on
we've
top
been-
of it.
we've
This
been-
is an outrage.
We've been through for no reason. Well, someday I'll be running for, state senate.
Really?
Should probably, I don't know, probably not.
No.
Will there be states and
How did do you
He's
feel
got
like
my
the
vote.
pandemic derailed your profession or your career?
I think it derailed a lot of people's careers
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
professions. I mean, it was catastrophic to, the economy and culture and life. It's almost about what you did coming out of it and what you made out of yourself through that time, with the adversity and your back against the wall. I don't know, defines who you were. And so did it derail my career in one aspect? Yeah, I lost my job. Lost a job I wanted my whole life. And through that, I found, purpose in creating something new and something different. And it took a lot of hard work to get here, and it took a lot of, drive, a lot of bumps in the road, but we are here in a moment. We've created something. It very well has the potential to succeed to a great level and go beyond what I ever imagined. And so without the pandemic, I would never have had that. I'd have been complacent and happy, collecting a paycheck and showing up every week and doing whatever they had for me.
So, again, you reached the pinnacle, at least in the mind of a fan, because that's all we are, fans, right? We think it's a pinnacle. We're probably way off base. When something like that happens to you, how do you keep how do you pull up your pants and say, okay, got to move on? I mean, does it come a point where you just want to lay in bed for a couple of weeks because you're I just can't believe this shit's going on right now? I had this opportunity and now it's just been stripped away from me.
Since it was the second time, and since what I was going through in my life at the time, outside of wrestling, was so, transcendent, it was not the best time for me, that losing that job did not bother me. It did not upset me. The first time, it was vengeance and, blood feud, and I will prove you wrong, watch this, I'm going to go be a big star, you're going to call me back. And they did, and I did. But this time it was almost, I understand. This isn't working out. This isn't good for me. I'm not doing anything for you. This is okay. This is fine.
Why didn't it work out? This bothers me. Your TNA career was fantastic. Couldn't they sit Drew McIntyre went away and proved his value on the indies? I certainly felt you did. What was the issue as to why I didn't see EC3 fighting in the main event card? Because you should have been.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
Maybe I didn't fight enough for myself backstage. Maybe I didn't fight enough when coming up, being aggressive enough to pitch ideas or get, quote, over with, the right people. I don't blame anybody, especially in wrestling. All I see is complacency and complaining. And when I came back to the WWE, I promised myself I wouldn't be that guy. But when it didn't go right immediately, I became that guy, and I just fell into a trap. So, granted, the call-up was haphazard. There was no real plans. There was no real reason. I wasn't anybody's guy, but that shouldn't have stopped me from becoming something and doing everything I possibly could to become it. And that even comes down to, yeah, you could do what you're told and you could be the good soldier, or you could be so strong in the belief of yourself that if you take the reins, take the initiative, do not worry if you get fired, but try your best to be you and show them why they're wrong. If you get fired, it's okay because you did everything you could. And if it succeeds, you're exactly where you want to be. But regardless, if you just sit there and do nothing, you will get fired. So I was the latter.
Did you fight for yourself in TNA? Because it seemed like from day one in TNA, you were treated correctly, in my mind, as a fan on the card.
I definitely had the confidence more so to fight for myself because I knew I was given an opportunity. And I was coming in as somebody that they wanted, as opposed to I'm just somebody that's there. So it was easier to have the confidence in yourself to fight for yourself while at the same time being respectful and learning from the veterans and things like that. But it was definitely easier to, because I was confident in the fact they would listen, as opposed to maybe apprehensive they would say no or go away or fire you immediately. I don't know, there's probably like a mental block in that WWE system that doesn't allow you to go all the way because you want the job and you want the money, but you fear the word no.
Do you kind of think when you went into the WWE, look, you're coming from TNA, you're a big time star, you saw them every week by 2 million people, you're one of their top stars. You go into the big time, again, not that TNA wasn't the big time, but you go into the WWE, do you think that you set yourself up and go, you know what, I don't want to get hurt if this becomes a bad experience, so I'm going to just go into this maybe the wrong way, like you explained?
I was super optimistic walking in on day one, especially
should have been
working in with Ambrose Moxley at the time. And then when the week went by and I noticed that because we went out of our way to feel an audience and kind of change the perception, if I'm, quote, the good guy and he was the bad guy, but the crowd loved him and they disliked me, kind of switching it on a live event to the next day, they can't really punish him for going against, quote, the script, but they can punish me. And then it was just kind of over from there. Like, I don't know. It started off wrong. And then,
but isn't that just favoritism, though? Why are they letting Moxley, or, currently Moxley, Ambrose slide, but you get the whip?
Because he announced he was leaving prior to that, and it was just kind of, they couldn't really do anything about it. Yeah. But at the same time, I hate this saying, but it is what it is. If it didn't happen like that, none of this would be happening now. Who knows where I'd be as a person? Probably a lot worse off. So as a person, I've ascended to a next level. I'm feeling good.
Nice. Nice.
We have renewed purpose, and creating something new could be what this industry needs. It's not creating competition as much as creating an alternative and another place for people to work. If I can give back by giving people jobs and opportunity, that's worth more than I had a good run and main evented this show and maybe I won this title. Like, there's real meaning behind that at the end of the day.
Yeah. You want to get to these crazy questions?
Crazy questions.
Or you want to stay? Well, I'm seeing crazy questions, so I'm not sure.
I'm going to get a little lighter before we get into some deeper stuff.
There's some weird shit here.
Yesterday's show, we were discussing.
Here comes the weird shit. All right.
We were discussing childhood crushes.
Yeah.
And we come up with, who was EC3's childhood crush?
Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
There you go.
Oh, there she was on the list.
That's what I'm talking about.
She was on the list.
Easy. Kelly Kapowski was one.
Who's Kelly Kapowski?
Wonder Years was Wendy, right?
Okay.
But I couldn't say out loud I had a crush on her because she had the same first name as my sister.
Oh.
Danica.
Okay.
The actress's name was Danica, so that felt weird.
Yeah.
Whatever was on Red Shoe Diaries, probably.
Red Shoe Diaries?
Hold on. This gets a little deeper now. And look, we're kind of bonded before the show.
This gets a little
weird. And let's talk in
Not
realities
deeper.
here.
Weird.
Who was your cartoon crush?
Here we go.
And we all, listen, we all know we have cartoon
We said
crushes.
Daphne from Scooby-Doo, personally.
Daphne from Scooby-Doo's mine.
He's not into Daphne over there.
I don't know.
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit was so hot.
Who?
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
April from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Had it going on.
Had it going on.
All right. All right, but Pharaoh, I asked Pharaoh the question. He really wouldn't commit. I'll ask you. You don't have to commit. There's a lot of people watching, so I don't want to embarrass you. But did you ever knock one out to a cartoon crush?
No.
Never, ever.
No, I really don't think so.
How about Tiffany?
Maybe.
I was trying to think of the age.
Listen, it's only nature.
I mean, probably not knowing what was going on at the time, because I was probably, 10 to 12, so like...
What do you mean? You like watching Zach dance with Tiffany and all of a sudden before you know your hands are down your pants?
He didn't know what was going on.
I mean, guys, what are we talking about here? Cranking it?
What are you doing?
What are we talking?
I told you he was
craziness,
revolting.
dude.
I warned you.
It's craziness.
I mean,
unbelievable.
it's a real thing.
It is.
I think
real.
it
This
is
is
live.
live.
He's
It's
acknowledging
humanity.
this. Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
the man is an owner of one of the most upcoming organizations, so I guess I better be a little more careful.
Yeah, I mean, what are you talking? Cartoon characters? Did you
But at the
spank
same
one
time,
out?
like, this is just banter between people.
Yeah,
Like, this is what people talk about.
Yeah.
It's nothing embarrassing.
Speaking of banter, when you decided to become a wrestler, if I can ask, what did your family think about that?
You hear always the stories, nobody believed in me, my parents didn't want me to do it, I had to go. My family was super supportive.
Super supportive.
They were.
Okay.
As long
good.
as I was able to take care of myself and make ends meet, working and doing other things, pursue your dream, pursue your passion, they were beyond supportive.
So what was it like? Hey, Mom and Dad, I just think... So you're in high school. Did you end up going to college?
I did, for no reason. What a waste.
Okay.
Actually.
But you go to Mom and Dad and you say, hey, I want to be a wrestler. Why did you want to become a wrestler?
My dad actually remembers the time because we were watching a match. It was Raw. I had it taped. Something happened. I think it was Kurt Angle doing the moonsault off the cage.
Okay.
He does the moonsault off the cage, and I pause and I look at my dad and I go, I want to be a wrestler. And he goes, okay, cool.
Wow.
So, and I think he told me that. But telling them wasn't hard because I kind of disappeared after school for a while because we started like right out of high school. And he knew I was up to something, plus he knew we were backyard wrestling. And then I kind of told him, they're like, yeah, we know, you're going to wrestling school. It's right there on, Vine Street. They're like, we'll be at your first match. I'm like, okay, cool. So
very supportive parents.
very much so.
Are they still with us?
They are. Very
How
sweet.
often do you get to see them?
4 times a year.
Okay.
Sometimes. So
He's very methodical. Very methodical.
I'm timed up well.
How did it feel? I mean, you're basically saying the first time you decided you really wanted to be a wrestler, you're watching Kurt Angle. Dude, you beat Kurt Angle for the TNA World Championship. What did that feel like?
It felt pretty fucking surreal.
I would think.
Because I had, this is something I'm installing with Control Your Narrative with, the young guys we have, is like manifest your dream match. Like, tell me what it is. If it's realistic, why can't it happen? It could totally happen. Just speak it into existence. What is it? And through this tour we're going to launch, we can do a few of them. And that intrigues me because I had mine. I had that match. And afterwards, the first people I hugged were my mom and my dad. It's like a moment I'll never forget. One of the few I'll never forget. Really
Kurt Angle is a
surreal.
person.
What's that?
Kurt Angle is a person. Can you tell me a little bit about him? What was it like working with the guy that basically gave you the idea, I want to do this, then you get to work with him and defeat him? How was he to you behind the scenes?
Very much a mentor and very much appreciative of like the next wave and how I kind of like handled myself and my business, and I had to earn his respect as I should and did, and putting together this match, listening to him, being smart enough when to chime in, smart enough when to allow him to talk about it. Having the match, what was important was the next day, because we just talked for like 20 minutes, and the conversation we had made my life and career, because if you have the respect of your idol,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
what could somebody say to you that could hurt you, if ever? Or like, what can a bad rating of a match do to you? Nothing. You have the respect of the guy who you admire the most, who vouches and endorses you. You're untouchable. you know?
Besides, the guy who does ratings is a moron, but that's just my personal opinion. As far as Alka-Seltzer goes, Alka-Meltzer, what do you got?
So it's clear, credible build, still keeping yourself in great shape. Did you feel it was necessary? Well, first of all, I'm going to make an assumption here, and feel free to correct me. I'm assuming at some point in your life you used some PEDs to get the build that you have to a certain level. Did you feel it was necessary to do that to make it in the sport of pro wrestling?
I think so.
I think anything under a doctor's guise, if you were to prescribe something,
There you go.
it's medicine in one aspect. In the second, anybody who claims in this industry, like, isn't seeking some sort of edge to keep themselves in the game as long as possible so they can make money, is not being truthful and honest with you. But to do your business, to compete at the highest level, you have to train body, mind, soul, be physically adaptive to anything, to be able to live on the road, to stay injury free, because if you're injured, you can't make money. Is it a necessity? Nothing's necessary.
Sure.
But at the same time, what keeps you in the game for as long as you can at a high level, who's to say? Who's to say?
Honestly, if you look at some of the athletes who have blown out their knees or torn ligaments,
I've had 5 knee surgeries. You know?
Oof. Yeah.
I've had my biceps torn off, my pecs torn, countless knocks in the head, like, this shit hurts and it catches up to you.
Does it concern you at all, though? Like, look, bodybuilding, I'm sure you were into watching bodybuilding, too.
Not at all. I hate bodybuilding.
Really? Okay.
I did one bodybuilding show just so I can beat them because they're such fucking assholes. And
There we go.
They're demented narcissists, and all they do is they work out and they eat their meals and they pop themselves on Instagram. They fucking play video games and they'll smoke weed, and they're such low life
They
losers.
play video games and smoke weed?
That's all these bodybuilders do.
Wow.
And then they just pose.
Interesting.
And I'm like, I train. And then I was training around bodybuilders. I'm like, these guys don't even train. They just take drugs. So I'm like, I'm going to beat them by just, I did one. And I hated it. I'm covered in, like, fucking soot. This spray tan bullshit.
This is
horse
stupid.
spray. And, like, fucking bagel dust and, like, Cheetos all over me.
Cheetos?
Like you're on stage and, like, you're all diuretic out, so swig of vodka and you're like, whoa.
Oh, my God.
Then you're hammered and you're posing. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Those are so lame.
Ridiculous. Good
Then,
stuff.
I beat a bunch of them because, I don't know, I'm a psychopath and competitive. But, so I didn't really get in. I respect it, especially at a high level, and seeing, like, what true conditioning and dedication is to some. But, like, a lot of them, yeah, it's bought and it's easy and it's just, like, PDs in a bottle. Just watching them train upsets me because we as wrestlers train so much harder, and the physical toil on us is so much harder.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, yes and no.
No, I got it.
Well, speaking of physical, to me, you've always had the mic skills. You're obviously solid in the ring. Fuck Dave Meltzer. Does it confuse you how some of these smaller guys like Adam Cole, or let's say a guy who doesn't even take his hands out of his pockets, Orange Cassidy in AEW, does it confuse you when you see these guys getting like these pushes?
No, because they resonate with a vocal minority of fans.
So what's over is over at the end of the day, or
I guess, is it over enough to attract, the multi-million people audience, or are they kind of tuning out? Dave Meltzer said I was a bad worker. He gave me a 5.
Oh no! When you mentioned before about star ratings, I just assumed you meant the guy Meltzer, who everybody seems to hinge on everything he thinks.
Anybody could say whatever they want about me. Kurt Angle fucking put me over.
That's all that matters, really. At the end of the
I
day,
couldn't give one shit. What
I
anyone
wouldn't.
else says,
I wouldn't give a shit either if Kurt Angle saying that to you.
But like, when
At
you cater to one group, this group's going to resonate with people that they can resonate with because, they look like them, or they feel like them, or they have the same interests. Like, they're interested in video games and kind of lethargy that plays into, superhero fantasy that's not realistic. Yeah, go with it. It's cool. It sells t-shirts. It sells, does it sell tickets? It sells t-shirts. It gets the views on, the socials, but is it growing the audience? And I think there needs to be wrestling is a balance. It's Baskin Robbins. There's so many different flavors, and I think you got to pull from every one of them. So they work hard. They're absolutely entitled to their spot. If they're given it, they deserve it. But we also need variety, antagonism, protagonism, different things, because as a variety show, you know, you need variety.
Bryant, one of the fans out there, said, how can they contact your organization to get a tryout?
We will be doing the initiative, so Control Your Narrative initiative, and I'm going to announce what cities these will take place in, but I really wish I had the time to watch your matches or critique you or steal your moves, you know, read the resume, but the only way how I got signed is I showed initiative. I spent $1,000 flying myself to Florida to try out for WWE for like four times, and initiatives are what's going to get you noticed. So multiple cities on the tour will house initiatives. It'll be, you know, our high-level talent breaking you down physically a bit, mentally a little bit, seeing what you have, what you offer, who you are, kind of. Regardless, you're going to get an experience and learn a lot from it, but that's going to be the only way I can manage bringing people in. And a lot of these shows are going to be outsourced locally because, you know, we're a small business, we're new, expenses are high. The initiative is about giving people opportunity, because when I do independence and I see so much talent out there, how do they get noticed? How do they get to the next level? Hopefully with the platform we have with Pro Wrestling TV, with Control Your Narrative, we can find the next 5 or 6 people that get into the conversation and become something, whether it's with us and we have sweet jobs to give them, or it's down the road they've, you know, get picked up by an AEW, an Impact, WWE, something of that. Being able to make opportunity for people is what really intrigues me, because it's very hard for me to get.
Now, you guys just got a TV deal, right? I think I read
Yeah,
that.
we're on Pro Wrestling TV. It's a new network. It's streaming. Our show will be based on what we film live on this tour. We have about 8 to 10 episodes in the can. So we're toying with how we're going to make it a weekly show with, you know, full-length matches, highlights, vignettes, interviews, production, but how to make it unique and different still. Going city to city, using local production, having them upload to our production team back in Florida, having them churn it out so it's available the next week, and, like, you know, a lot of moving parts that I'm trying to put together, and it's chaos, but Pro Wrestling TV is downloadable, all apps. What's the iStore? What's it called? App Store, Google Play, Roku, every streaming thing you can find.
Now, are you writing all the programming too? Are you booking all the matches? Are you writing
I will
vignettes?
have, you know, like, I won't write vignettes, but I'll put people in position to be their best selves. I don't think writing for them, that would defeat the purpose. Booking, in a sense, yeah, I guess I am pretty responsible for that. You know,
look at that. Crazy.
Trusted team, you know, but I think I have a good formula down. Plus, I have a lot of help. So, in theory, I guess I have the pencil. I control the narrative now.
Well, speaking of the pencil, Vince McMahon obviously has been under a ton of scrutiny lately with what's been
I'm so tuned out. I don't know what's going on TV.
Oh, really?
I don't know what's going on online. It took me 3 days to hear about whatever this was at first, and then I guess there's more to it, but go ahead, yeah.
Listen, you've been in the industry, right? Yeah. Is it just natural? Look, put Vince aside. Is it natural for a female wrestler, or because you're like this kind of tight-knit family? Does it come a point where you just become attracted to each other and you start building these relationships, even if they become romantic? And
I've always personally steered away from that because I like life outside the industry, and I don't want to be surrounded by it at home or with, you know, relationships and love and that thing. I guess when you spend a lot of time with people and around people, you develop relationships and attractions, and your energies coincide and they bloom. But as far as, yeah, I mean, it's all different. It all varies, right? Love finds a way. Isn't that what Jeff Goldblum said, except it's about life? Life finds a way.
Pulling the Jeff Goldblum card.
Pulling the Goldblum card. I'll throw you off.
Well, apparently there's a lot of love in Vince McMahon's libido. But anyway, okay.
Hey, good for him.
Yeah, that's basically what we think, but, you know, okay.
So then let me
Does
ask
that
you.
shock people?
No, not at all.
Like,
Quite
are people
honestly.
like, "Oh, I can't believe
He's
it."
a genetic jackhammer. Isn't that what he said? I mean,
Apparently.
you know.
So the best characters are true to
Well,
life.
let's go back to the other side. You were in TNA for quite a while. Again, we know nothing. We only see what's online, so it could be true or not true. But
Probably not true.
But when you
More
were
than
with
likely.
when you were with Dixie Carter, was it true that Dixie loved the boys and wanted to build relationships in that way with the boys?
Did she get,
was
did
that
she get
not the
around,
case?
or was she, to herself?
Not when I was there. She's my sweet aunt.
We are talking about his family. We should be careful.
She's a Southern belle.
This is the nephew. What are we talking here? I'm sorry.
No.
Was she well behaved though?
You want to read the internet and ask questions? I'll church it up for you.
She's
I'm
got
sorry.
quite-
I'm sorry. The truth.
I mean, we
isn't
have
what you
you
wanna
here.
hear.
We have you here. She's got quite the rep as far as all the bullshit that's said online. Did she?
I don't
have a-
understand why the internet was so cruel and rude to her, and all
Right.
she ever wanted to do was give people a good wrestling show, and maybe she got taken advantage of by con men in this industry, taking
Okay.
her for her money and things
Okay.
like that. But why was it so vicious?
So it's overblown.
and hateful for her. I don't get it.
So it's
That's not
overblown.
me, it's her nephew saying it. That's me as somebody who these are the same people who claim all this virtue and just things
Mm.
are so fucking, they're monsters to her sometimes.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Agreed. So it's overblown then. It's fair to say that her internet reputation is
fair to
bullshit.
say, I'm her fucking nephew.
There you go. There you go.
I don't have any uncles I fought yet.
With that, we take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with the great EC3.
Not too quick, Abe. Run a few.
Oh no!
Yeah. Later. That's hilarious. That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549. That's right, folks. Canine Corral for all your dog daycare and overnight care. Call 631-549-1544. That's 631-549-1544.
Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. Elm Logistics, for all your logistic needs, call 631-299-3595. That's 631-299-3595. Elm Global Logistics, pride, performance, and partnerships.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monte The Pharaoh, where my partner still can't seem to be able to hold his piss. EC3, thank you again for being on the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So, obviously, I'm sure you made a good amount of money wrestling and stuff. Was it a stretch to start this organization? Were you worried about it? Because I'm
Everything's
sure there had to be
especially
some
in
kind
this
of
time.
financial investment,
Everything,
right?
Commercial?
I made enough to take care of myself to be unable to take a paycheck for a little bit, but by no means am I filthy rich or wealthy or are the truth to any rumor of we have these crazy sponsors, which we don't. So, it's bold, it's risky, but it definitely could pay off. So, you don't know unless you try.
Would you, if you could look back and do it all over again, would you still want to be a pro wrestler, or would you went a different route?
Ooh.
Not that I don't love what we do or what it gave me, and I love the idea of what it can become. So many other things do intrigue me that even visiting them as options, though, who I am and who I became and what I went through to get here to this moment in life, I don't know what I can trade that would make me happier being who I am. So I don't know. Probably not. Even though there's so much other things to be able to do, and shit, I could be a fitness influencer on Instagram and make 7 figures doing fucking horse shit, or TikTok asshole, make it you could be doing all these things. And I definitely sacrifice myself personally for building what we're building. That's what's gonna make it great. So no, I don't. Good question, though.
Good.
What's the feedback amongst other wrestlers in the business as to what you're doing? Are you finding a
I mean,
lot of support? Or
Yeah, vast majority. I don't know, because I have a sterling reputation of admiration and respect and cordiality and professionalism with the vast majority of people I've ever worked with. I really don't have any, quote, haters. Very intrigued. They like what they've seen. They like the idea of being able, to not be constrained creatively or written for or handled in such ways. And they are very aware, well aware of the middlemen that kind of ruin wrestling and the in-betweens and all the, the lapses with communication because I've been a talent. I've been through it all. Just the lapses of communication to talent. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of eyes on this for it to hopefully succeed. But at the same time, would they be willing to give up that guarantee to take a risk with this? And that's really the testament to your belief. And it would be very hard for me. It was very hard for me to turn down guarantees to do this. But here we are. So,
just to further understand about what happened with WWE, was there any particular albatross in your way, or was it the system in your way when you came back? I mean, look, after seeing your TNA run 4 times as 24/7 champion is not exactly what I felt you deserved.
Any albatross is put on you by yourself. I would say if that had one villain in my way, it was the fact that at NXT TakeOver, I was concussed very badly. When I got cleared from that concussion, I was immediately concussed again by getting kneed in the head. While I was suffering that concussion, I was called up to the main roster, so I wasn't quite ready, maybe mentally, but I was able to pass the test, so, well, this is my opportunity. I have to go through it. Working, getting thrown into that mix, and maybe mentally you're not in the right place, and, it doesn't go well. It's very easy to get into a bad place, and then I was concussed again because I was on the road and I was working somebody who's very, lax and dangerous, and he punched me in the head for like the 3rd time, and I tried to work through it, which is a mistake, and then eventually, found out I was concussed, and when I was finally cleared from the concussion, there was a pandemic, and I was fired. So
I respectfully ask, who was, if you don't
I will
mind,
not say that.
who was lax and dangerous?
It's for the book.
It's for the book. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Your relationship with Vince, if I can ask real fast. I mean,
It wasn't one, really. Talked to him a couple times. I would say the man I wanted him to be and expected him to be, the leader that I heard he was from the past, I did not see. I saw more of a, shell of that. Sort of a feeble, old man, as opposed to the leader that you'd want to run through a wall for.
So you kind of have this envisionment of everything you heard. You finally get there, and you're like, "Here I am.
Yeah.
This is it." And
It was
wow,
kinda just like, just an indifferent
is this
guy.
the 2006? After you returned, or did you have any crossings with Vince when you were in the early days with FCW into NXT early days, because you were there?
Some handshakes and things like that, but that interaction was on the
Significant change between the first time you saw Vince and then when you returned after TNA, as far as Vince goes? Significant change in him?
maybe more human on the first run.
More human on the first one.
Maybe more like reaching out and saying hi to people and not
Okay.
like sheltered inside.
Okay.
I had barely a relationship with him.
How
so-
about Triple H? Was Triple H the leader that you thought that could be?
in NXT? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much so.
Okay.
And how was your
Like-
relationship with him?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they let you go, is there just a letter sent to you, or do you
Yeah,
get?
you get a phone call.
And who calls you?
It depends. Whoever's the head of talent relations at that time.
Yeah.
Did you feel it coming, or?
Oh yeah, we're in
You
a
did.
pandemic. Shit's blowing up. I do nothing. I have a concussion. For sure. It's just a
Not-
matter when.
not that you're grateful for the pandemic, obviously, but you seem to be grateful for the outcome it brought about. Is that fair?
It made me who I was.
There you go.
Who I am.
There you go.
You can, whatever happens to you in life, you can. The only thing you can do is, how does it affect you? You can take it for what it is. You can complain about it. You can yell about it. Like I'm telling Tom today, we're driving up here. He's like, "Oh, traffic this." I'm like, "You can't do anything, man. It's okay. It's just how you react to it." Easily could have complained about it. I get up, push. No one else to hear that shit. Shut up. Fuck off. You get up. Do work. Shut your fucking mouth. Enough with this no push bullshit. These fucking people with their, like, just crying about it online, and, like, the fake people trying to act like they're going to ask for the release. They're like, "You guys know the deal. I'm really good." Shut up. Shut up. Fucking do something. Stop sitting there doing nothing. You expect the same. You expect different, but you do the same thing. You show up and you look the same way and you act the same way and you hide in the locker room the same way and you play on your phone the same way. You can't ever fucking get past that. You're never going to get what you want. Take a chance. I swear, that's my only regret, is I didn't take a chance in myself enough that this might get me fired or this might give me exactly what I want. I'd rather find out than just silently get fired in a month anyways.
So how do you feel like when someone like Sasha Banks...
I don't know anything about what was going on with that.
I got it, but here's someone that's been led to the high mountain,
doing quite
making
well.
Tons of money, and
Doing
just
quite
decides
well.
to walk out. You think...
I mean, kudos, I guess. If that's a great feeling to have, to be able to, like, I can leave this at any time. And they don't like that either, because then they lose power and control over you.
Sure.
So if she believes in herself that much, and I don't know the scenario, I really don't, but kudos to her if her self-belief brought her to the point where I can lose this all, and that's okay. Cool. Good. Guess what? Somebody else will get an opportunity too, and then guess what? You'll mend the fence, you can come back, you can work with them, and you can make more money.
What about loyalty, though?
Loyalty how?
Loyalty, like, look, TNA helped build your career, right? Clearly you have some loyalty to Dixie. We're having that conversation. She helped you along with your career as the owner of that company, right? Do you just walk away from somebody who has allowed you
Would they
to
fire
make...
you in a heartbeat if it was a pandemic and you were underperforming and you were concussed? They would fire you. It's business.
Was it easy for you to leave TNA? I mean, after all,
No,
EC3 was,
It wasn't, but it was time, because we've done what we've done. We've gotten to where we've gotten, and then I felt if I didn't challenge myself this way, or if I stuck around as the management changed, and they were great. They were great to me. They were awesome. But if someone else can make a name for themselves, then if this doesn't work, I can come back and work with them. But I can also try this and see what happens. And it's just mutual, like, I'm saving you money. And you're tight for money at this point until you figure your business out. It was win-win for us both. We both had to take the chance. So it wasn't disloyalty. It was very mutual and very respectful, and I have nothing bad to say about them. I respect the shit out of them, especially Scott.
well, on paper, obviously, you're defeating Kurt Angle would probably be the greatest moment of, EC3's career, in my opinion. But is that your favorite match? Do you have a favorite match?
If that's not it, it's with Rockstar Spud in Wembley, the First Blood, or the hair versus hair match.
Yeah, that didn't turn out too well for Rock. Yes.
No, but that was us putting our hearts and our souls into an angle and telling a story and building it up, and kind of that's what started why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's because we took initiative to create it and craft it, and the creative was very on par with what we wanted, but, like, they let us tell that story all the way through to the conclusion.
You think Spud's a little underappreciated? Because I kind of feel he is.
He's wrestling's.
He's great.
Genius.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's killer in the ring. He's absolutely unbelievable.
Great on the mic too. Excellent.
Just can draw emotion.
You seem like this has been a pleasurable ride to you, though. You seem like, you understand the business, and it's been pretty enjoyable to a certain point.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of hardships and tough things, and I don't know, along the way you lose your humanity and people, things like that. It wasn't easy. They've been injured so many times, so many, quote, opportunities kind of pulled, whether it was injury or whether they just never came, or promised one thing and lied to my, handshakes, evil smile right to my face while you're stabbing me in the back, like, dumb shit. But it's pleasurable. It's what you make of it and what you can make of it. And nothing will ever be perfect, but,
Phil is saying out there, you don't seem like the guy that would politic in the back.
You have to, though.
Did you do enough of it?
No.
Okay.
But then there's a difference between politic and, being,
A prick?
Yeah. Politicking is one thing. I mean, he saw me actually politicking some things today. I just don't believe in this. I don't think I can do it. But again, I could also just be a good soldier and go out and do it. At the same time, why is there no loyalty? No, because you know what? If you're a good soldier, you're the first one to get shot. So, politicking in a way that it's fighting for what you believe in and, in a respectful manner, there's ways to do it. There's ways to be passionate, and I guess politicking is just a negative connotation of, it has that, at his expense, I'm going to get this. If that's what you call politicking, no. But here's how I think this can work, where he gets this and I get this out of it, and then we go this way, then yeah, I like politicking.
All right. I'm going to name a few guys, and you tell me your feeling on them. Abe, get ready to slam out those picks. Let's start with Bully Ray, Bubba Ray.
I love Bubba. We just did Busted Open. He's definitely behind the project. We manifested a dream scenario for him at the Starland Ballroom. I think that's November 6th. And that would probably be him putting Enzo through a flaming table. So fingers crossed we can do
Enzo?
That. Yeah, he's like, you manifest dreams? I'm like, yeah, I want to put Enzo through a flaming table. I'm like, all right.
Aren't you afraid he's going to...
Let's do it.
Aren't you afraid he's going to kill him? Enzo's like, danger-prone,
I fear
Daphne.
nothing.
All right, next. Let's go with Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. obviously nowadays John Moxley.
I love John. John was a friend from the developmental days. Hell of a worker, hell of a hand. Crazy extrovert or introvert, kind of like me, but at the same time, total extrovert. I hope the best for him, and I hope him and Renee, children, happy.
You're proud of what he's done? The way he basically has blazed his own... He's controlling his narrative.
So, very much so. I think he's even texted when this whole thing started. He's like, hey, I appreciate what you're doing, man. It's super cool.
Did he give you a little inspiration, possibly? Some of these guys who've been saying, you know what, I'll go find my pastures greener elsewhere?
Yeah, I would definitely say he did.
Okay.
Especially considering where he was on the card and how easy it is to just, I can wear this stupid mask and do this dumb vignette and make a bunch of money, or I could take a chance on myself and just be happy. And fuck, money doesn't mean happiness, guys. It certainly doesn't hurt.
Of course.
Again, wrestling is a high art in a lot of ways, right? So is it because you're this artist? To me personally, I'm like, shit, man, if you're going to pay me all this money, you want me to do whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. But I see more and more speaking with guys like you, it's like, you want your art. Why do you feel that is the way you guys think? I'm trying to what the art becomes more important than the money, or is it that you get all the money first and then you have the availability to make the art?
Maybe. Then maybe I can turn this art into a shit ton of money. But
Right.
I think when you have a passion for something, and most of the guys you probably talk to are guys that came up following a dream as opposed to people that, got into the system from another means. And not to say they don't have passion, but their passion wasn't ingrained at such a young age where it stuck with them for the entirety of their life, where they had to follow it or their life would have been a failure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have that, it becomes important.
So you're trying to say maybe so we have some of the older guys in like a Tommy Rich or that type of thing. They got into the industry and then, were probably more about the money, where you were more in love with the whole idea of being a wrestler and being able to perform and do certain things. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I think the storytelling is what attracted me. And the physicality and, the larger-than-life personas. Granted, having money and being able to take care of a family off of it is quite a caveat and definitely an inspiration. But I don't think I was driven to be rich via wrestling. If I wanted to be rich, I would have thrown a baseball faster.
Oh,
right.
There we go. There's a big dividing line, especially on the internet with the wrestling fans. What do you think's more important? Because it seems like the anti-Vince McMahon people, they're all wrestling. However, your it factor and your entertainment factor are, to me, what sealed your deal. So, what is more important in your mind, the wrestling itself or the entertainment?
What draws the most attention and the most people into the building and brings about the best course of business, and what tells the best story. The best story is what matters. And sometimes in the pursuit of high caliber wrestling, in a way, you lose the storytelling aspect and the personalities and why they're there and why they're fighting for what they're there for. And as long as that wrestling between people with it factor and things of that nature that can carry the story is realistic and physical and has context. Like, I love physical, realistic wrestling over wrestling that's play fighting and dancing and shit like that. And is that good wrestling? But then again, people are allowed to like what they like.
True.
And you got to give them a bit of everything.
For sure.
So all right. As far as a divide, I don't know why we're divided. I don't know why we can't say, well, I really like a great story told, with two epic characters that confront, like fucking WrestleMania 17. My favorite match is Rock Austin, Type 1 alpha male versus Type 1 alpha male. Two guys legitimately competing for the top spot.
Sure. But
working together. And they did 6 moves, probably. Mm-hmm. But you watch them punch each other and the way they moved in the ring and the back and forth. Until you're in a ring, you don't realize the art and beauty of, making something look real as opposed to being able to do something. So yeah, you can flip and land on your feet, and that's cool, but it doesn't look realistic.
Right.
Austin swinging a back elbow, dude, he just took his head off. I don't know. That's what intrigues me the most, but you're allowed to like what you like.
So then what you're saying right now, hey, look, you have this availability to make something look believable. It's this great art. So then it does have to affect you at some point if someone says, oh, shit. And I'm not saying anyone said anything, but, oh, your matches are the shits.
Yeah. I mean, no, nothing affects me. Nobody on this planet could say anything about me to me that is worse than things I've said to myself, So.
And you've had Kurt Angle approve of you, so I really wouldn't give a shit.
At the same time,
after that, I wouldn't give a shit when anybody
Stinger's out there says,
okay, but you still paid $40 for an autograph.
So there you go. Thanks. There you go.
Yeah. Stinger's out there says, Kevin Nash always said, if you're not in it for the money, then you're the biggest mark. What do you think of that?
I don't disagree. Kevin made a hell of, Kevin's super smart.
Genius.
Man, too.
Genius.
Say the quote again, if you're not in it for the money?
He says, if you're not in it for the money, then you are the biggest mark.
I'm in it for the money. Don't get me wrong. But it's not the most motivating thing.
Gotcha. So that's
if you're going to tell me you're going to make $1 million this year and you're going to be fucking miserable, or you're going to make $850,000 this year, but you've created something that has employed 7 people and you've done all this work and it's going to build and you invested equity in this, so it's actually going to come up and you're going to make more money down the road, I'll take the $850.
Gotcha.
So Kevin's not wrong.
Well, we're out of time. I want to thank you again.
My pleasure.
You are quite the intelligent man. We're going to hit you with something called the Pharaoh's Final Question.
Pharaoh's Final Question?
Pharaoh's Final Question. It could be off script, whatever he's got to say. I don't know what he's going to ask
you. How often he goes to the bathroom? Not as much as me.
That's clear.
That's for
but
shit
anyway,
sure.
Go ahead.
All right. What would you have changed? Being a huge fan of EC3, obviously I've already said this, but what would you have changed possibly when you got to WWE
I would have
after?
kicked fucking Vince's door down and said, listen here, motherfucker. You ain't got nobody who talks like me. You have nobody who looks like me.
No.
This fucking place sucks. Your show sucks. This writing's garbage. What are we doing? Listen, you want to fucking make money? Put the fucking ball in my hand. We'll make money. You don't want to? Fucking fire me. I don't care. I don't need this shit. I don't want to live like this anymore. Fuck you. Bye. Something like that.
Wow.
So currently EC3 would have been able to do this today.
Today, 100%.
Damn.
Back then, no.
Timing is
I
everything.
was a coward. What can I say? I was just. I don't want to lose my job. It's pretty good. You know, I make a good.
Right.
Well, you know what? I
Damn.
mean, it's not a coward. It's
not, he's smart.
You want your job.
He was smart. He's protecting his,
I mean,
his finances.
When you got that call and they let
Smart.
you go, was there any part of you that said, "Hey, I'm going to call Triple H and say, what are you doing here? You're making this mistake or anything?"
Not
Or-
one bit. I was like, time's passed.
Did you just feel helpless, like a cog in the system? There's no point?
At the point prior, yes. When I got the call, I felt like a giant weight was off my shoulder, which is not the same as the first time I got fired.
Real quick before we get you out of here, what is your thoughts? Because I hear sometimes the comparisons, and I always felt that he's the light version, if we're going to talk beer and going to the bathroom, he's the light version, The Miz.
What about him?
I sometimes hear the comparison of between you and The Miz.
Him and I don't know. I'm way more jacked. I'm way more shredded. I'm way more ripped.
Yeah.
He's way more. He made way more money in wrestling.
Yeah, but he's The Miz light. I mean, to me, compared to you. I mean, just you know, have you heard these things before? Because I have seen them.
I guess to an extent, but like I think it's very easy for, you know, simple-minded wrestling fans to combine people that have similar personalities but are kind of completely different.
Right.
It's the same thing when people compare me to MJF or MJF to me or Miz
Right.
to MJF.
I've heard that too.
We're totally different guys.
Yeah.
We're totally different things. And like, you know, sometimes EC3, MJF stole your thing. No, he didn't. He took something that's unoriginal. He's making it his own. He's doing great with it. And same thing with Miz. Mike worked his ass off. He went through shit.
For sure.
Through the hard times in
For
the
sure.
locker room. Getting fucking berated and beaten by these, you know, back then when that shit would happen. He paid dues. He suffered. He came out the other end, shined up. And
He's had an amazing career, for sure.
Yeah. And like his promos could have depth when they're allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
Very intelligent, I would say. So in that similar sense, yeah, like they're alike.
Is there anyone you didn't like in professional wrestling?
Oh yeah.
Is that for the book?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Son of a bitch.
know? Trouble,
Last
trouble.
thing, how did you build this relationship with Adam Shear?
I think because I always respected the opinions of somebody that got pushed into wrestling and like got pushed quickly, but they see the business a different way. Because I think when you come up within wrestling and you're corrupted by the internet or, you know, the indie wrestling bubble, and you have all these mindsets, you don't see what a casual person sees. So kind of talking to him about that, and, you know, he's just a guy that likes cold beer and hanging out, and he was cool. And then we became friends and brothers, really. So he just likes to hang out way more than I do. I'm very much just want to hide from people. So, but he does have a similar vision of like wrestling. Control your narrative in wrestling is a vessel for something bigger, and that's like a movement for self-actualization. And he had some hard times, even being on top of the world, money-wise, within wrestling, being able to lose yourself in that and be in a dark place and be sad and be mad.
He had some mental problems, if I remember reading, right? He had some issues.
Mental problems sounds
wrong thing
like-
to say.
Yeah.
He bouts with depression.
Yeah,
There you go.
Right?
sure, and he's very into the mental health aspect, as we all should, and shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. And that's kind of how our whole movement started. And it's wrestling is the vessel of it. But a genuine care for people. But it started as simple as like, hey, you like wrestling, but you didn't love it. What did you like about it? Oh, this, and like, yeah, like that's what I like about it too. But now we're worried about this and this. I know it's not. Just kind of getting someone else's opinion instead of being surrounded by the same constant, complacent, negative thought and groupthink. And why am I not getting pushed? And why this? And why is he getting? But well, he's 6'9", he's huge, and people go crazy when he goes out. And Sure, you can do a fucking moonsault, but nobody gives a shit. So stop complaining. Or do something different. Or be me and just be miserable and complain explain too, even though you promised yourself you wouldn't. And I did. So.
Well, I got to tell you, very intelligent man. Your parents should be very proud, and you should be very proud of yourself. And we wish you the best of luck. We'll be supporting you for sure.
Obliged. I thought you were going to lead me down a rat trap of some political horseshit. I was like, what do you think of Sleepy Joe? He's the 46th president of the United States. That's what I would have said.
There you go.
Because he is. That's it.
He's the president of the United States.
Is he aware that he's the 46th president? Probably.
All right,
not.
we're done here.
Sweet.
All right, with that, you've been watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast. We'll see you next Thursday and next Friday,
Yes,
where
sir.
we have Tommy Rich and
Wow,
rugged
fine.
Ronnie Garvin
Oh,
in
sweet.
studio.
Hands of stone. Very good.
All right, this has been Mike Monte.
This is the Pharaoh, and until next week, thank you for coming in to check us out once again.
Thank you, EC3,
Thank you,
sir.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Later.
Oh my God, it's 7:20.